Hi everyone, Jaffe here, and today we're going to go through the first episode in the puzzle series Around the World in Many Days. The puzzle is a killer Sudoku, and the grid is on the screen right now. And we'll go through the rules in a bit, but first let me just explain how I'm going to do this. So every time I post a puzzle, which will be Saturday morning my time, I will record myself solving the puzzle, sort of explaining my thought process, how you might solve it. Obviously, it's not going to be like a real solve because I know the answers beforehand, but I will try to follow the steps that an actual solver might take to find the correct answer. And the videos will come out only after someone has found the answer on PSE, that's Puzzling Stack Exchange. So only after someone has actually found the correct solution will I post the video on YouTube. But generally, it'll be out by Sunday my time. So, without further ado, let's look at this puzzle, which is also called Around the World in Many Days. So, we'll scroll up to read what Gladys, the protagonist, has to say about this one. So, here we are. Dear Puzzling, how have you been? I'm excited to tell you about my new trip. It is my most ambitious one yet, a full trip around the world. I'll definitely keep you posted about my whereabouts. I hope you stick around, it will be a long ride. I started my trip with some culture. I visited a beautiful theater with a long history to see a play by a local author. They had more famous titles on offer as well, but having come this far, it would kind of be a shame to watch something I can just as well see at home. I have to say I was not disappointed. So basically saying that we're looking for either the name of the theater or a place with a famous theater. So that's going to be the answer. And then it goes on to describe the rules of the puzzle. Today's puzzle is a killer Sudoku. The rules are as follows. Each of the 8 letters in the grid represents a different number from 1 to 8. So as you see here, we don't actually have numbers as in a regular Sudoku. We have something standing for the numbers. We have to figure out what the numbers are. Fill the grid so that each row, column, and 2x4 box contains each letter exactly once. The values of letters in cages marked with dashed lines must sum to the total indicated in the top left corner. So what that's saying is um, if this R is 7, that means that these two cells must sum to 7. So they could be 3 and 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. And the last part is solve the gray background puzzle to extract the final answer. I hope you enjoyed today's puzzle. There are many more to come this time around, so be sure to stay tuned. Can you guess where I am? Love, Gladys. So that is the description of the puzzle. And if you see, it mentioned a background puzzle, so the gray stuff is a different puzzle entirely. And below the grid, we have a link to solve just the Sudoku, and then there's a separate link for just the background stuff. So we're going to open this solve link for the Sudoku and try to figure that out. I have to say about this site, Puzzling Stack Exchange, it doesn't allow you to solve right on the site, so you have to either click on the solve link or just uh, save the picture on your device and just solve it somewhere using image editor or something. So it doesn't actually allow you to solve on the site. But I have added the solve link, which is on Penpa Plus, and that allows you to enter digits here, and it also gives you a message when the solution is correct. So we're going to start by solving this Sudoku. And so first of all, we're going to need to figure out what these letters stand for. Obviously, in a killer Sudoku, like you need to make use of these sums, like knowing what numbers can go into these cages. So the first thing to do is figuring out what what numbers each letter can represent. For that, I have Notepad open as well, and I'm going to put all letters here and also all the different values that they can have. So what letters do we have? We have an R, we have an A, we have a H, K, F, K, I, and G. So those are the 8 different letters in the grid, and each must be different. If you noticed in the rules, it said that here it said that each represents a different number. So that's going to be important as well. So let's see what are the restrictions, like what letter has some restrictions and what numbers it can be. Well, we can see that the grid sums are somewhat restricted. That, for example, this A cannot be 1 because you can't put two numbers between 1 and 8 that are different that sum to 1. So the minimum this can be is 1 plus 2. So A is at least 3. So I'm going to put 3 plus here. And the same is true of every letter that is used as a grid sum, as a cage sum, sorry. So R is 3 plus, I is 3 plus, H here is 3 plus, and E also 3 plus. What did I do wrong? I have K twice and I don't have an E here. Okay, so E was the missing one, 3 plus also. So actually we only have 3 letters which can be 1 or 2. So what else can we determine from the cages? Well, this R is a 3-cell cage, so it can't be 3. The minimum it can be is 1 plus 2 plus 3 in some order. So R must be at least 6. And I guess we can write 6, 7, 8 because 8 is the maximum they can be. This is not a normal Sudoku. Normal Sudoku is 3 by 3 and this is, 9 by 9. So it has those 3 by 3 boxes and this is 8 by 8. It has these 2 by 4 boxes. Can we say something else? Well, if we look at these boxes, this one and this one here, they have 3 of the same cage sum. Now that is a little bit restrictive because imagine I was 3, which it can be currently. This would have to be 1 and 2. But now that you've used 1 and 2 in this box, you can't put 1 and 2 here. So I is not possible as 3. Well, what can I be? Well, it can be 8 because you can make up 8 3 different ways from the numbers 1 to 8. So it can be 1 plus 7, it can be 2 plus 6, and it can be 3 plus 5. So 8 is possible. 7 is also possible because 7 can also be made up 3 different ways. So it's 1 plus 6, 2 plus 5, or 3 plus 4. But 6 you can't. 6 you can't make, it can only be 1 plus 5 or 2 plus 4 because there's no 3 plus 3. You would have two 3's in the box. So that means that I and H have to be 7 and 8. We don't know which is which, but we know they cannot be anything other than 7 and 8. So I'm going to mark these 7 and 8 and H also 7 and 8. What this means now, since all letters are different numbers, that means that R cannot be 7 or 8 because that's taken, both are taken by these letters. So R must be 6. Now since R is 6, we already know what these numbers are. We don't know the order, but we know that these must be 1 plus 2 plus 3 because anything more would be more than 6. Now I'm going to put small numbers here to indicate that we don't know which one is where, but we know that those numbers are in these cells. Now then, what else do we know? Well, we don't know what K is, but K is inside the A box, the A cage. Sorry, these are cages. So A can be anything from 3 to 5 now. It cannot be 6 because R is 6, and it cannot be 7 or 8 because H and I are 7 and 8. So A in fact is 3, 4 or 5. Now K cannot be bigger than A because this would have to be negative then. So K can be 1, 2 or 3 or 4. Cannot be 5 because this would have to be 0 and we don't have zeros. So we know that about K, but we know something about this cell as well. So this cell cannot be bigger than A. So it can't be more than, well, it can't even be 5. It can be 4 or lower. Now let's think about H. H has two possibilities, 7 and 8. And if it's 7, these three cages take up the numbers 1, 6, 2, 5, and 3, 4. So the only numbers that can't go in the 7 cage are 7 and 8. So these would have to be 7 and 8. Now that would mean this is 7 or 8, but it can't be because the sum is less than 7 or 8. So H in fact cannot be 7. So we can mark H as 8 and I as 7. Now 8 does work because the three possibilities for 8 take up 1, 7, 2, 6 and 3, 5. So the remaining digits are 4 and 8. No, 8 can't go here, but 4 can. And we can put 4 here. And the 8 goes here because 8 obviously can't go in an 8 cage. Now I'm debating whether I should rewrite these as numbers, but I think I'm going to stick with just having letters in the grid. I will rewrite the numbers after we have a full grid, just rewrite those as letters. But yeah, I think I'm going to stick with letters here. So anyway, we know 8 goes here. And we also know I is now, what do we know about I? It's 7. So that means these three take up 1, 6, 2, 5, and 3, 4. So 7, 8 in some order are here. I'm going to mark those as these smaller numbers. So now, what about A? We know this is 4, so A is at least 5. The minimum this K can be is 1. And it's also at most 5, because it can't be bigger than 5. So A is 5, in other words. That also means K has to be 1. So we know K is 1. Well, knowing K is 1 actually helps us a lot, because now we know this is 1, which means 1 can't be here. And there has to be 1 in this cage, so it has to be here. And these then must be 2 and 3 in some order. Now, what do we know next? Do we know something about this? And we do know something about this. This A is 5, and 5 can be made up in two different ways, 1 plus 4 or 2 plus 3. Well, if you look at this row, you already have a 1, so it can't be 1, 4 here. So you have to have 2 and 3 here, in fact. Now knowing that, even though we don't know the order, we know 2 and 3 are taken in this box. So if we look at this R now, which is 6, 6 can be made up by 1 plus 5 or 2 plus 4. Well, 2 plus 4 is impossible because that would put a second 2 in this box. So it has to be 1 plus 5 in some order. And we know where the 1 goes because this is 1, K is 1, so 1 can't go here. All right. Next, what do we know? Can we say something? H is known actually, that is 8. So that means 8 can't, in this box, 8 can't be here or here. So that's the only place where 8 can be. R is not 8. So this is the 8. And then we could also write in the possibilities for F and G because they're very limited now. We need a 2 and a 3 and is it 4? Yeah, 2, 3, 4. E can't be 2, but it can be 3 or 4. And G can be 2, 3 or 4. Now then, let's see what else we can figure out here. So I is 7. This is 1, so this can't be 1 plus 6. But it does still have two options. It can be 2 plus 5 or 3 plus 4. This 6 doesn't limit the options there. What about this E here? We haven't looked at E yet. So E can be 3 or 4. Ah, no, sorry, wait. We have an A here, and we know the sum. So A is 5, and the sum has to be 7. So this is actually 2. We can just fill that in. So this is 2, 5. And we also know this is 1, so this can't be 1 plus 6 for the 7. So this is 1, 6, and this is 3, 4. Because that's the 3, 4 is the only remaining way to make up 7. So 1, 6, and 3, 4. Now what I was going to say about the E can be 3 or 4. But note that we have a 2 here. So if E is 3, it's going to be 1 plus 2. That's the only way to make 3. So E can't be 3. So that means actually E is 4, and F and G can't be 4s. E being 4 means it's 1 plus 3, and we don't know which order they go in. Now can we tell the F and G apart somehow? And the answer is we can because of this 2. G can't be 2 because you'd have two 2's in the row. So G is 3, F is 2, and we have successfully deduced all the numbers, or all the letters and their corresponding numbers. Now I'm still going to use numbers in the grid and just replace them with the letters once we have a full grid. So let's see, G is 3, so this can't be 3. That must be the 4, and this is the 3. We also know this H is 8, so it can't be 2 plus 6 because of this F. It can't be 3 plus 5 because of this G. This is 3. So it has to be the one remaining option, which is 1 plus 7. And we don't know the order, but we know those must be in these cells. Now, where do we go next? Do we know something about this R? This has to sum to 6. So it can't have a 1 in it for several reasons. One is taken here and one is also already on the column. This H doesn't limit the options because that's 8. 8 cannot be in a 6 gauge anyway. So this can still be 2 plus 4, in which case this would be the 2 because it can't be 4. Ah, no, sorry. 6 can only be made in two different ways. So 1, 5 is taken because it can't have a 1. So it is 2, 4, and 4 can't be here. So in fact, we know where the 2 and the 4 go. Yeah, I was thinking 6 can be made in three different ways for a second there, but no, it's 1 plus 5 or 2 plus 4. Yeah, so we do know where these go. Now then, these can't be 4, and if you look at this column, you have to have 1, 4 in the column, and this is the only place where it can go. What else? Now we can also place, in this column, we can also place a 2, because it can't be here because of this 2. Can't be here because 2 is one of these. Can't be here because one of these is going to be 2, so there's going to be a 2 on the row here. So this has to be 2. And now we have only two options here. So we've taken 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8. So that's 3 and 7 remaining. Well, 3 is already here in the column, so 3 can't be here. So it must be here, and the 7 must be here. Now this box only has two digits left. So we've taken 1, 2, H is 8. So we need a 5 and a 6 here. And do we know the order? K is 1, A is 5. So 5 can't be here. So that's 5. Oops, that's 6. And this also has two digits left. Those are, we've taken 1, 2, 3. That's a 6. So we need 4 and 7 in these. And 7 is already on the column here. One of these is a 7. So this can't be a 7. That's the 4 and that's the 7. Next up, I guess we know these numbers as well, because we have in the column we have 1, 2, 3, we have 5, 6, and 7. So we need 4 and 8. Actually, we don't know the order, but I can still write them in 4, 8. What about this column here? So we have 1, 2, H is 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need, oh, and a 6. So we need 5 and 7 here. F is 2, so we don't know the order of 5 and 7 either. And the remaining digit here, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 6 is 6 has to be here. Okay, next up, what about this column here? It needs, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It needs 7 and 8. Well, 8 can't be here because of this. So that's a 7 and this is an 8. Now then, what about this box? There's a 1 here, 2, 3, 4. So we need 5 and a 6. And also can't know the order, which is kind of annoying. Gonna have to put a lot of these little numbers in the grid first, but let's see. Can we determine what this pair is? So it has to sum to 8. Can't be 1, 7. So 3, 5 is possible. And 2, 6 is possible. So we can't really determine that yet. What can we do? What about this H here? Also can't. Oh no, actually this H we can determine because G is 3, so that rules out 3 plus 5. And we have a 2 here, which rules out 2 plus 6. So 1 plus 7 is the only option. Now we know 7 can't be here, so this is the 7. And this is the 1. Now does this 1 help us with this I here? So the I is 7. Sums to 7, so it has to be 1 plus 6, which is impossible because there's a 1 already in the column. But it could be 2 plus 5, except F is 2, so there's already a 2 in the box, so it can't be 2 plus 5. So 3 plus 4 is the only option. Do we know the order of 3 and 4? We don't. 4 can be either of these, and 3 can be either of these. So 3, 4 is here. Now then, these are going to be, what are we missing in the column? This is 6, so we need 2 and 5. But actually we know the order because A is 5. A is 5, so we know this can't be 5 then. So this is 2, and this is 5, and now this sum to 8, so that's 3, 5. And we also know this is now not 1, 7, not 3, 5, it's going to be 2 plus 6. And 2 can't be here, so 2 goes there, 6 goes there. This 6 also helps us because this now can't be 6. So that's 5 and that's 6. And also, we've had 7 there for a while, haven't we? So that rules out 7 from there. Should have filled that out earlier because that would have allowed us to fill these in as well. But okay, we have these boxes ready now. Let's see then, what can we do with this column here? So we have 1, we have 2, 3, 4, so 5, 6 are missing. A is 5, so this has to be the 6, and the 5 must go there. Only remaining place for it. So also the 7 rules out this 7 from here, so that can only be 8, and the 7 has to go there. And this one rules out 1 from here, so that's 6 and that's 1. What else? This A is 5, so neither of these can be 5. G is not 5, so this has to be a 5. And this looks like it's collapsing now. Two numbers left here, 4 and 8, are they? 4, it can't be there, so 4 must be here, 8 is here. What about these? These must be 1, this is 2. No, wait, K is 1, so we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 6, 7, 8 has to be here. Well, 6 can't be on this column because 6 is already there, so this is the 6. Also, we can just fill in this because there's a 3 here, so this can't be 3. That's 2, that's 3. And we have 7, 8 here, right? So that's gonna be... do we not know the order? I am missing something here. I think we don't should know the order at this point. 7, 8, 7, 8. 7 can be here. Oh, the 2, 3. Yeah, 2, 3 should have been fixed a long time ago because of this F. This is 2. And maybe I would have noticed it if I had actually gone through the trouble of replacing these with numbers, but I didn't. So yeah, F is 2, so we actually can tell that this is 3. And the 2 goes here, and now it just there's an effect that this is now 4 and this is 3, and now the 4 gives us this 8, this 4, and now we have this 5 gives us this, and then the 7 gives us the 8 here and 7 here. And it doesn't tell us that we're correct yet because we still have to replace the numbers with letters. So let's do that. But yeah, I think this is the finished grid. So let's go through the numbers and just replace them with the correct letters. So 6s are R's, so we have an R here. Oops, R, 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 R. Then we have 5s are A's, so there. And A here. 8s are H, so let's see. Okay, then we have 1s are K's. 2s are F's. I imagine this would have been more difficult if I had only letters in the grid from the get-go, but maybe it would have been easier if I had just translated them into numbers. So E for the 4, translated them for the, just replaced these with numbers once I knew what they were. I's are 7, 7s are I's, sorry. I, 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 and G's are 3s. So this should now tell us that we are correct once we finish this, and it does. So that is the correct solution to the Sudoku. Well, how does this tell us what theater we are in? And I guess we haven't solved something yet, so we did have the background puzzle here as well. Now it doesn't tell us what kind of puzzle it is, but obviously if you have done that type of puzzle before, you might immediately see what it is. But there is also a hint if we go back into the description here. You may have noticed that I skipped through these. These are not numbers. These are hiragana, spelling out the word so, ko, ba, n, which is a puzzle type. So if you look up Sokoban, it is actually a puzzle type which looks like, oh, sorry, I'm gonna have to move this. Puzzle type for moving boxes. So the rules are, just briefly, you have to move each box onto these circles, and you boxes can't go through these walls, and you can't move multiple boxes at the same time. So now, if we look at the background puzzle, and you can open this background puzzle in a separate grid here, so you don't have to worry about the Sudoku grid on top of it. This is actually really simple. So we start here, and you go down. It pushes the first box onto its place, and then you go here. It pushes the second box here, and now you have to get through these. You can't push here because you put this in a corner and you can't get it out. So you have to push this first, push this down, then push this box, which is now here, push this up, and then go here and push the final box here. I'm going to try to trace this in the Sudoku grid. So first we have to go down. I have to select, what is it? It's the line. It's the line. Okay. So we are here. That corresponds to this cell. So we go down. Then we have to go to the left and up. To the left and up. Then we have to go to the left and down. Then this box is now here. We are here. So we go to the left, up, to the left, up. So to the left, up, to the left, up. So that spells out now something. Hagerfikir. Hagerfikir, which happens to be the name of a theater. So this is where we are. This is the final answer though. So this is where Gladys currently is. It's Hagerfikir Theater in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And yeah, that is how we found the solution here. And this is going to be a sort of a reoccurring thing in these puzzles, that it's going to be often going to be two puzzles. One gives you some letters, and then the other one gives you sort of how to find the answer from those letters. So that is the answer to this puzzle. Now the next puzzle in the series is going to be a cryptic crossword. So before I post that, I'm going to have to make the video about how to solve cryptic crosswords. So that will come up next, and after that I will see you for the second episode of Around the World in Many Days. And that's it for me. Thanks.